listening segment on the Breakfast Show right here on Business Day Television. I am Deborah Eze and I'm here with
Onyeka Valentine.
All right, let's go straight into the conversations the Nigerians are engaging with online. And the first conversation gaining attention is a promise by Israel's Prime Minister to join forces with the US in the fight against persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Netanyahu says top on his government's agenda in 2026 is to support U.S. efforts in the fight against persecution of Christians in Nigeria and other countries. The Prime Minister stated this in a chat with evangelical community leaders in Florida after his meeting with President Donald Trump on Wednesday. Netanyahu's support for U.S. fight against persecution of Christians in Nigeria and other countries came barely a week after U.S. carried out airstrikes against terrorists in Nigeria. Let's take a look at how netizens are reacting to this. Now, the first tweet from Williams, and he said, "This news has sent shockwaves down the spine of Islamist terrorist financiers and most Muslim elites in Nigeria. They're already panicking hearing the name Israel and Netanyahu. Nigeria is the epicenter of Islamist insurgency in Africa, and it must be dissolved for Africa to be free." Another one from Jeremy White, and he said, "If those Sharia apologists in Nigeria think they are untouchable, let them dare Netanyahu. The fear of Netanyahu should be the beginning of wisdom for them. They should study how Hezbollah has been steadily neutralized." And finally from Godsin, and he said, "The ovation is getting loudest. While Trump may dwell on rhetoric for long, Netanyahu doesn't talk too much. He believes more in action. If Nigeria is now in his radar, then terrorists and jihadists should be very worried. Even those in Nassau Rock won't be spared."
Very quickly, without wasting time, let's just say it the way it is. I think we are seeing an era of double standards.
Okay.
I mean, truth be told, if anybody has qualified to talk about issues going on with a different country where there's supposed, genocide, it is not Netanyahu. And it's not about we having a platform to bring him down. The world has seen it. So many times they have actually accused him of, war, what's called again, war crimes. He never went and answered anyone. Talking about, yes, again, let me start on a softer note. Truth be told, yes, we have issues with terrorism in our country. Our own military is not sitting on their hands. They're doing their best. All our personnel are on ground, whether from the office to the theater of war, pushing hard so that things can, normalize back to we can have full normalcy, and of course, combat criminals. Most definitely, we have our issues, and we are seeking help from different places. But if our government has not reached out to Israel to help us, Netanyahu has not in any way, right, qualified to even be a moral compass for anything regarding this. And we've gotten so soon, even when we saw that, look, the world was saying, allow these people breathe. He was still bombarding, Gaza, and then almost pushing the Palestinians, or whatever you want to call it, Palestinians, to a point of no return, right? Even when they were trying to, the world was trying to give aid in that particular region, he was still bombarding them. So what we're talking about, if it wasn't for Iran that stepped in when they tried to try Iran too, and other countries that started pushing back and forth, of course, his uncle, Donald Trump, yes, I'll call him that, had to say, look, enough is enough. Netanyahu wasn't willing to even back down. So what gives him the moral compass to now say, for what it is, right? Try to look for an excuse to come turn our wonderful country to, their quote and unquote, their pot of soup where they can create chaos. We don't have a Muslim-Christian problem in our country. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't have to be a journalist to know this. Any other person out there who's a Nigerian knows this. We don't have a Muslim against Christian issue. No, we have a terrorism issue that is affecting both Christians and Muslims.
So you do not support Netanyahu
exactly.
Actually
at all.
joining forces with
At all.
But Christians are actually really being persecuted.
And Muslims are also being murdered also.
Okay.
Not just last week we heard of a bomb blast in a mosque, a suicide bomber in a mosque. And before then, we know that record has shown, right, look, as far back as 2015 to present day, as much as Boko Haram has inflicted a lot of terror within that region, what does it stand for? Boko Haram, what do they stand for? Look, they don't want Western education. Boko Haram, it is, for them, it's saying to have education. That's what they want. They don't want that. And this cuts across whether you are Muslim or Christian, or you're Hindu, or you are even an atheist. So long as you're bringing Western education, they don't want it. So their move is against that. And in that move, innocent people are dying. In that so-called evil agenda, right? Christians along the way are also dying.
Right.
Muslims along the way are also dying. So if Netanyahu now comes and now says he's joining Donald Trump, first and foremost, we need to hear, and I don't know why our government is so slow to respond to certain things. As soon as he put up that so-called statement, we should have our foreign minister immediately counter him if we are not in support of it.
Right.
Let our people know, look, we are not in support of this, or you know what, we are in support of it.
Or maybe we'll just take silence as, a form of support.
Silence, they say, sometimes is consent.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Maybe silence is silence.
Anyways, Netanyahu has not earned the place. Double standard.
Okay.
The world is still holding him responsible for what he has done. She won't answer.
All right. Another topic that Nigerians are reacting to in social media is the comeback of famous streamer and TikToker Peller months after crashing his car. After weeks of silence and intense public scrutiny, Peller, with the birth name Abib Amzem, made a bold comeback to social media with a gym photo. The 20-year-old creator shares a shirtless mirror shot today with a newly linked heartbreak tattoo on his chest as he clocked over 100 live views on his TikTok. On December 14th, Peller was at the center of a widely circulated car crash on the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, captured live during an emotional Instagram session after a reported argument with his girlfriend, Jarvis. Let's take a look at how netizens are reacting to this. Now, the first reaction from the Ope is a very long read, and the first reaction reads, "Mistakes are made for us to grow. That's life. Forgive yourself and keep living. Keep trying. You'll be wiser." Another reaction, the long read. Peller has announced a strategic emotional recess with impressive composure. Friends now apologies rendered, disappearance requested, and a bold declaration of a girl-free 2026 based on record. It reads less like heartbreak and more like someone finally choosing sleep over chaos. There is a quiet alignment here with the thinking behind 1st October. Before you can build anything meaningful, whether love, legacy, or impact, you must first be whole. That's a long read. I guess we understand what he's trying to say. And finally, one of the reactions read, "The king is back."
It's funny when I see, statements like that, the king is back. Who's the king? I'm even shocked to hear that the guy is 20 years old. 20 years old.
Yeah.
Again, fame, one way or the other, whether you're an
It's
influencer.
digitization.
Pardon?
Digitization. It makes anybody, once you can get your hands on it, you're sure to make money.
But for what it is, I think he needs to get a mentor. He needs to go through a proper mentor program to know how to handle fame, know how to handle breakups, know how to handle relationship in the first place.
I think everybody has gotten to that point where they're actually heartbroken. I think it's a process that one has to go through to actually understand life and love per se. So I don't really think it's that deep for him to actually speak somebody. But the part where he tried to unalive himself because of it, I think everyone has gotten to that point in their life. I can speak for myself, where you get your heart broken, and then you want to, that's your first heartbreak. So because it's quite young, let's remember that. You get your first heartbreak, and then you're like, well, I'm going to kill myself. So I think it's at that point in his life, and it's okay for him to go through the process. Yeah.
So I mean, it's good that we can watch him become an adult on national TV, or watch him become an adult in public, because I would say he's still becoming an adult, really. But however, having said so, we've seen people younger than him who have hit fame. I mean, how old was Wizkid when Wizkid became, started becoming popular?
Social media wasn't really like a thing
at that
when.
time. Yes.
Now you can stream everything. Everyone is busy doing Get Ready With Me, A Day in My Life. You're not living with them, but you have
a glimpse of what's going on in
their lives.
I agree with you. So for me, I think if he's experiencing a comeback now, now he has decided to say, look, Things
I
are
can
going
do
to
this
yeah,
better.
exactly.
Yeah,
I'm also happy for him that the gym is also a factory.
true.
I keep saying this thing. Whoever wants to listen, we all go through tough times one way or the other, whether economic downtime or financial problems or relationship, as the case may be. How you handle it matters. But you see, it's important to know that whatever is happening to you is in the moment. Only you and you alone know how it pinches. So do not make lifetime decision out
Based
of
on
temporal
emotions.
situation.
Yeah.
See now. So once you understand that, you apply this to every other thing that you do, whether it is in your marriage, or it's a relationship, or maybe it is in your business. Look, you will face challenges. Whoever says challenges wouldn't come, it's a lie, it's a setup.
Right.
These things will happen. But this is the catcher now and the kicker at the same time. When those challenges face you, would you be down for the count or would you rise up for the next session?
Right.
That is what 2026 is about. So I will tell him, if he's listening, my man, 2026 is upon you. Rise above everything. Be more mature, more smart. Before you make a decision, think twice.
All right. Before you make a decision, think twice. We're actually pressed for time. Let's quickly look at the third conversation, which is the arrest of Anthony Joshua's driver a few days after a tragic accident that claimed the lives of two of his close associates. According to the police spokesperson, the driver is currently in custody in connection with the Anthony Joshua accident case while investigations are ongoing. It was also gathered that the vehicle conveying the renowned Boxer, a Lexus SUV with registration number KRD 850HN, collided with a stationary truck, killing two foreign nationals identified as Ayodele Kelvin Olu and also Gami Shina, a British citizen. Let's take a look at how Nigerians are reacting to this. The first reaction from Aisha, she said the driver of Anthony Joshua's SUV and the driver of the parked truck should be investigated. Two people died. Anthony sustained injuries and people are criticizing Nigeria over something that's not the nation's fault. People are stating one of the deceased was decapitated. The other's brain were coming out. This should be a criminal charge. Another one from the quiet trucks, and he said, too many unanswered questions. Accidents happen, but this feels like one that may have been avoidable. The survivor's guilt AJ may face, or the survivor's guilt as AJ may face can take years to heal. And finally, from Yari, and he said, firstly, we should hear from the driver and know what happened before passing any allegation. Might be a car fault rather than human. And secondly, who is the driver that parked the truck? Any photo of him? No. So how do you know who you are looking for? Now, lastly, we've heard many accidents like this, even the ones where it's the truck that runs into other cars and people. Nothing was ever done about it. Now that Anthony Joshua is involved, the Nigerian authority involved suddenly knows the right thing to do. The poor really gets through a lot. I didn't see they holding. It's okay for you to like bring in the driver and ask questions, but they putting him in custody. Don't you think that's quite
No, I mean, the driver already is going through trauma. You will not tell me that he actually, in his sane mind, decided to drive into a stationary truck. Nobody in his sane mind wants to do that because the truth of the matter is, it was already the time he was suicidal. And so if he had suicidal tendencies, why did he even have to
drive them
in the first place?
I think this is just an issue of
they're looking for who to blame.
Who to blame.
That's the truth.
Who to pin it on.
I think as it is right now, the nation should rally, around Anthony Joshua and how he's feeling at the moment. This is not a time for any other nation or any other country to now say, we told you, when Nigeria happens to you, forget all that. Accidents happen around the world. After all, it's the same different countries where you see the bridge fall down. You see where someone, it's all over social media. You see people of influence driving and they fall asleep or they are driving under the influence of alcohol. We see this every now and then. Because this has to do with a celebrity, does not mean, Nigeria is a failed state. No, I disagree, right? And of course, when people say, how come they didn't respond quickly with ambulance or how come we didn't have cameras, for crying out loud sake, other countries, do they have ambulance at every kilometer? Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's not be quick to throw Nigeria under the bus because it has happened. This accident maybe wasn't meant to happen, but it has happened. That's why it's called an accident. If it was premeditated, that's where questions will come in. If there was a case of saying they plan to, kill Anthony Joshua, that's a different matter for a different day. But whoever wanted to do that could have simply just done what? But we go buy an IED, which is an explosive, whatever it is, and put in the car. But that's not the case. The car did not explode in motion.
Right.
The vehicle was not shot at. It was an accident. But could it have been avoided? Yes. So I think Nigerian government, and of course, those who are making all the rounds, should come out and now say, look, well, again, I like the fact that Lagos State government has said, they've shown their own concern. Look, we are so sorry about what happened. We show our condolences towards, you and those, and exactly those who were involved in the matter. We pray he heals on time. I saw the statement they put out there, which was good because it was Lagos-Ibadan. It's Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And also Ogun State also, they're also, people are talking and, back and forth. But however, what is more important is lesson learned. What are we learning from this? Are we now saying that we can afford to make sure that trucks are not left on the road if they break down for more than 10 minutes or 20 minutes? Can we now say that FRSC increase your patrol timing from point to point? These are areas I want to hear. Can we also now say that, look, we have what we call linked to Google Map. Can we have people in offices, right? Every 20 minutes, check the Google Map to make sure that vehicles are not broken down on the road. These things are out there to have real-time, information so that it doesn't happen again. Yes, Anthony Joshua is someone of influence. Yes, he's a celebrity, right? Our heart goes out to those who died in the accident, his friends, and we pray that his mental well-being exactly, and the trauma doesn't put him down. But there's lesson to be learned here. And all fingers are pointed to those who can make our roads safer.
All right, those are the stories the Nigerians are talking about today. Thank you for watching the social listening segment on The Breakfast Show right here on Business Day Television. I remain Deborah Eze, and I didn't do this alone. I did it with
Onyeka Valentine.
All right, join us next time, and still a Happy New Year to you.